Hello everyone and welcome to this BrainCell webinar, Cloud Dashboards and Reporting for your CRM. There are still people dialing in even as we speak, so we're going to give those folks a chance to connect. We'll start the webinar in about a minute or two. So just hang tight. We'll be with you in a moment. Okay, everyone. We still have a few people, a few stragglers joining in, but we'll get going. We want to honor the time commitment here. So again, welcome. This is the BrainCell webinar on Cloud Dashboards and Reporting for your CRM. A little bit of housekeeping before we get going. This webinar is being recorded, and it will show up on the BrainCell website if you'd like to see it. See it later, watch it, share it with your friends and colleagues. The BrainCell website is easy to navigate to. It is braincell.net. And if you navigate over to that website and look for the resources tab, you'll see events and webinars and webinar recordings. You'll be able to see all the upcoming events. You'll see today's right here. Then you'll also be able to look at previously recorded webinars. In fact, I think we've got one from just a couple days ago. So please feel free to navigate over to the BrainCell website and share these recordings with your colleagues. There is also a questions pane in your GoToWebinar interface. If you'd like to ask questions, please do not hesitate. This is an open forum. We'll take them as they come in if possible. If not, there is a Q&A section specifically at the end of this webinar. So back to the goodness here. I'd like to introduce myself and my colleague Rob. My name is Kevin Cook. I'm the Executive Vice President here at BrainCell Technologies. We are a business software consultancy, and we help, as you can see there, we help businesses grow and transform with technology. And one of those pieces of technology is a tool called ClicData. And I have my colleague Rob Wood from ClicData here, who's going to help us talk about business intelligence and maybe even, not maybe, definitely even demonstrate the tool. Rob, say hello.
Hello, folks, and Kevin, thanks for the invitation. We're happy to be here.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about ClicData, your company, who you are. What are we getting ourselves into here? Who are you?
ClicData is a cloud-based business intelligence and data analytics and data visualization company. People can read the text you put there. You accurately took some information that we share as well as a good description. But I like to kind of put it in a canned kind of statement of it's your data, it's your business, use it how you want. The best part about having a lot of tools and a lot of technologies, you capture just a ton of rich data. What we do is we actually help you be able to see that data in a meaningful way, in an actionable way, when it's, we call it, instead of real-time data, we call it anytime data. Whenever you need it, whenever you want to look at it, regardless of where you are, regardless of how you're viewing it, you can see the dashboards in a meaningful way to help you run your business. It's more important to focus on what needs to be focused on versus trying to figure out what needs to be focused on.
Okay, very good. Very good. Good explanation of your company. So what I'd like to do is define business intelligence. This is, we talk to a lot of customers here at BrainCell Technologies. They want lots of different things, and CRM, ERP, marketing automation. But no matter what kind of software we're talking about, business intelligence reporting always comes up. People ask us about reporting, but business intelligence is a little bit more than reporting. I grabbed these two definitions off the internet, so it's got to be accurate. Business intelligence comprises the strategies and technologies used by enterprises for the data analysis of business information. That's a mouthful, but it says a lot about what business intelligence is, and it's more than reporting. Tell me why BI is more than just reporting.
Reporting, I think, let's use the analogy of an actual car dashboard. You know, you're taking a long road trip with your family. There's a lot of things you need to look at and view and pay attention to, but not all at the same time, but you need to have it readily available. You know, the check engine light comes on. What's your gas? What is the oil pressure? What's the temperature? All of those things are important to you, but let's just say that you thought, okay, I want to just look at my speed. That's a report on how fast you're going, but it doesn't give you an overall intelligence of how the entire vehicle or the entire enterprise is running. And if you focus on what, you know, let's just say it's revenue. If you're just focusing on that all day long, then there's a problem that you didn't see coming because you weren't able to see the whole picture, have intelligence of the entire machine, which is your business. That's why you have a dashboard that has lights and it has bells and it has gauges. The most important things are obvious, and then there's other things that you want to just glance at to say, okay, I don't need to worry about that. I can continue running my business. I don't have to worry about fuel for another 100 miles. That's the intelligence part, when you're able to take an entire view of the engine or the entire view of the vehicle, your business, at a given point in time when you want to see it. Now you're running your business in an intelligent fashion, and you can make actionable decisions based off of that.
That's very good. Very good. I want to give an example of that in our everyday life. I love your analogy of the car, but I've got a day-to-day thing that I'm looking at right now. We have monitors on the wall, big monitors here at Brain Cell headquarters. 70-inch monitors, and those monitors show ClicData reports, or ClicData dashboards. Now, they're important to us because we use a CRM internally, and I can get information about the CRM. I can put up opportunity information, but we also have a phone system. We also have an accounting tool, and on our big monitors, we've got things like opportunities and call data mashed up. We use ClicData to mash up the accounts and the opportunity values, and then the phone system information. You know, which salesperson's making the most phone calls? How long is a salesperson staying on a phone call? I got this one bubble chart that shows, you know, each bubble is a salesperson. The size of the bubble is the average call length, and then the position of the bubble is the frequency and things like that. And so it can tell at a glance when you mash that data up with things like opportunity values or stuff from our accounting system. And I look at CRM reporting as, like you said, I'm looking at that one thing, speedometer. That's my CRM report. But I may want to bring in other things like accounting or phones or ERP or anything.
Yeah, and that's a perfect case use. We also have a company that's one of the largest distributors of aftermarket parts for Mustangs. They use the system.
I love Mustangs. I used to hop out Mustangs. I'm glad you did.
So they use our system to manage their pick, pack, and ship lines. That's how they started out using it. But then they realized, well, what we can do is we can actually link that pick, pack, and ship also to our cost of freight, and we can also talk about how much income we brought in off of freight. Oh, and then they started looking at it and saying, well, wait a minute. I've got salespeople that are taking orders every day. We have web orders. Now they can look at it and say, well, we normally have 12 people on our pick, pack, and ship line, but we have a few people out on vacation, so now we only have 8. We know that at a certain point, we can't ship any more orders today because we're already ahead of where we are, behind of where we need to be. So now when someone goes online and says, I want to buy this piece of equipment, they can look at that and say, oh, I'm not going to get that today. That's going to ship in 3 days or in 2 days. The sales reps can look at that and say, well, we only have 2 in stock. I can get those shipped out tomorrow, but it doesn't look like we'll have our inventory refreshed for another 3 days. The CEO can look at it and say, we've charged $12,000 worth freight this month, and our freight expenses have been 14. We're a little out of line on that. We need to come back in level. So again, it's understanding the machine that is your business.
That's great, very good. Now, I want to get to a demo, but before I do, there's one other thing that I find really, really interesting here. The lower left-hand corner, we got a phone, a cell phone. I just recently started using my BI ClicData on my cell phone. Tell me why the mobile capability of a BI tool is important, Rob.
Well, we have a furniture manufacturer in Texas, and this guy is a wonderful guy. He's running a 112-year-old family business that manufactures and distributes and sells furniture. He loves our mobile application because he says if he's at his kid's football game, if he's at church, if he's on vacation, even if he's sitting at home before he hits the work, he can just pull up that mobile app and he already knows what he needs to focus on before he even goes into the office, because there's simple things like this is green, this is yellow, this is red. He knows he doesn't have to worry about the greens. The yellows he might need to keep an eye on, and the reds he's better call somebody because something's behind. It allows for that anytime data. It's more important to have it when you want it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great. Now, real quick, one of the things that I think is great about ClicData is all the connections. It connects to lots of different things. Several of these items here we're using inside BrainCell. One of the things that made me we vetted a lot of tools before we started working with ClicData. And one of the reasons we went with ClicData was because it data warehouses. It warehouses data. And not many other tools actually create your own data warehouse. That was important for lots of reasons.
Yeah, I remember the first question you asked us is, do you guys have a data mart? And as soon as we said yeah, then we were allowed to actually go in and pitch.
Yeah, I didn't want to see a demo of your product until I knew that you could actually create a data mart for me. So that was a big deal. That's a big deal. But I know that our attendees are getting anxious about a demo. So let's talk real quick about the things you can do. React faster. What's that mean? And and we're talking about ClicData here, but in the big picture, anytime you're using a BI tool with your CRM, you can react faster. But what does that mean, Rob?
Reacting faster is what I call reacting faster is you're reacting faster to the things you need to react to. And also that also allows you to be proactive on things that you know are doing well. Let's maybe make sure they continue to do well. Suddenly you've got a fire, you can react to that, but more importantly, you're able to react in the most efficient way possible on the things that need your attention, including those that don't necessarily need your attention.
Yeah, the guy sitting in church needs to run out because there's something in red.
Right. It basically allows you to prioritize faster.
That's good. That's good. Staying focused. I know what that means, and I like that. That's the reason we put things up on the wall on these big monitors. It's really important for us to see our year-to-date growth. We live and die by our year-to-date growth, and it's pretty high, I might tell you. It's also on a big, gigantic dashboard on one of our monitors. So we like to stay focused. One thing that you mentioned here, this last bullet point, Rob, single version of the truth. What do you mean by that? That sounds important. What do you mean?
Well, just like you, Kevin, I've been involved with sales for pretty much my entire career, and I've been in countless meetings where I've got a spreadsheet, and then maybe my boss has a spreadsheet, and maybe the CFO has a spreadsheet, and they're all different. We all know that Excel can be easily manipulated, not out of maliciousness, just out of somebody trying to understand their data better. Well, what happens now is you now have multiple versions of the truth. And I always say you waste an entire meeting because people are arguing over what their Excel sheet says versus somebody else's. Now you have a single version of the truth. It can be broadcast to your company. It can be broadcast to individuals. It can be locked down so that only certain people see certain information. But at the end of the day, it's all the same version of the truth. It allows for factual conversations, not opinion-based conversations.
Right. And you know what we do with spreadsheets is we take the spreadsheets and we load them into ClicData. And we're using the values. People never see a spreadsheet. They just see certain numbers and values in a mashup on a dashboard. I think that's kind of cool.
Yep.
Sharing with the team, lots of people here at BrainCell, we see stuff on these on these monitors, big monitors. But how else would people share this data? And give me some examples.
Well, let's just keep on the sales track. And, as a VP of sales, you want to see, every sales region, every sales group, the revenue by product, however you want to look at it, but you want to see it for yourself. But then maybe a director underneath you, he wants to see that same information, but you want to limit it just to what he's in charge of. And then same with the sales manager, and then all the way down to the rep. What that does is it allows for everybody's got the same view of things. It's just the data changes based off of your role. So you can set someone up to see certain things or everything or a combination. Let's say you're a CFO. you're going to want to give me my budget, but I don't necessarily need to see operations budget, but the CFO needs to see both budgets.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Well, you and I have been talking for about 15 minutes here, and I know that my attendees are anxious to see a demo. So with that, Rob, I'm going to make you the presenter.
Perfect.
Maybe you can show us what we've been talking about here.
Sounds great. So can you see my screen?
We're seeing the welcome screen. Not quite yet. There's going to be a little drop down that says share my something that's probably hidden.
Okay. Actually, you gave the presenter to the other gentleman in the office.
Okay, I gave the wrong person. My mistake.
There we go.
Okay, now you have the con.
How's that?
Now we can see it. Yep.
All right. So this is a real basic sheet, but what's interesting about it is there's a lot of power even in the fact that this is basic. You're looking at somebody who obviously wants to see everything from sales versus quota, percentage of quota, where they're at with their revenue targets, and then you can do some cool things by, well, what did last month look like? And now it easily switches. You can also come over and say, okay, well, I have a customer here that is Abraham Buick, but then I can say, okay, well, they've done $7,000 in ads, but guess what? Now I can look at each of those deals within that total roll-up for that month. That becomes extremely powerful because now you've got CRM data that is managing and bringing up this information, but trying to find all of that information in a CRM in a useful fashion becomes difficult. Difficult. So you can do cool things by, let's say, I just want to look at a custom date range. Well, that works for you as well. Now, we talked about a little bit, Kevin, we talked about our ability to mash a lot of things together. This is also a cool thing right here where I know a lot of your users or your customers, excuse me, they use social media. Everybody uses social media, but really what is your current impact of social media? By using ClicData, you're able to actually look at what the impact your social media is. How many paid views do you have? What's your total reach? How many posts have you done on? This is just on Facebook. Let's click over to Twitter real fast. And now
let me ask you, Rob, sorry to interrupt. I want to make sure that's because you got connectors to Facebook and Twitter, right? We're not writing any special code or anything like that.
There's no magic to it. You basically click on the Facebook or Twitter connector, you put your credentials in, and now you have all the data involved. Now, the great part about having a data mart, as you say, is that now you're able to take that information, put it into the data mart, and now you can start merging some stuff. Now you can start putting some ranges on things. You can start looking at the data the way you want to, not just the way that Twitter or Facebook or Instagram wants you to see it. Now you can see a lot of cool things about impressions, paid impressions, organic, how many tweets have you done, are you up, are you down, your engagements by date range. You can even put this in where you could have a date slider that that, okay, here's a peak right here. I want to see more detail on that peak. So there's a lot of things you can do that you can't get without a BI or intelligence tool.
That's right. I want to expand on that. You're talking about the data mart, the data warehouse idea. A CRM is usually stateless. I'm being techie here, yeah, I know but it's going to give you, when you open up your Salesforce or Sugar or Microsoft, you're looking at your CRM, you're looking at the way things are today, right now. That's what you want. And the CRM is not usually set up to give you historical data. I mean, you can, yes, of course, you can drill down and get the historical data, but it doesn't take snapshots. And the data mart, this data warehouse, will allow you to take a snapshot of things, and that's really powerful.
It is, and especially when you start talking about you're just bringing in little bits of data every couple hours, every minute, every day, however you want to schedule that, but it allows you to do stuff that's really powerful, like just clicking on something as simple as show me the last 7 days. Show me what happened during the last 7 days. Show me what happened last month. Show me a date range. So again, on the date range thing, this becomes powerful because I can pick any type of date at any given time, and it can show me that information. Also, how many times do we have your customers, our customers, people that use CRMs, Johnny was a great rep, but Johnny went back to school, or Johnny got fired, or Johnny decided he wanted to move on to bigger and better things, you still have all of Johnny's data in there. But now those accounts have been moved to Sally. So now what you can do, because you've created this data mart, you can start seeing how did those accounts do prior to Sally taking them over, and how did they do with Sally taking them over? Did they improve? Did they go down? Now you can start truly understanding, is it my business that's increasing sales? Is it my sales reps that are increasing sales? Is it a combination of? Those are the things that you can get out of a business intelligence tool that you can't get from your normal CRM data.
Nice.
So I kind of took a very high level view. I want to be respectful of people's time, and we wanted to talk about the different things we can do with both CRM, and then I wanted to show you our social media capabilities. This is more of an end result. We can talk about how do you start that process. I'll leave that up to you, or if anybody has questions.
Okay. Yeah. Let's dig into some. Here's a question. A lot of I don't want to just read it. I'm trying to interpret the question. A lot of CRMs have firewalls or their proprietary database. You don't connect straight to the database. So how do you get data out of some of those kinds of tools? And I think the customer is referring to one of the connectors they saw.
Correct.
So how does that work?
So one of the cool things that we have is we have a lot of different ways to get to the data. Because we're cloning the data, it's a one-way basically read only. So we never write to production data. We only read from production data. We clone that data. We have several different ways. It's an add, append, replace, a lot of different options on how you want to take your CRM data or your financial data and put that into that secure data mart. And because of that, your production is never impacted. There's no impact on the resources or the bandwidth or the throughput, but more importantly, you're never impacting that database itself. You'll never corrupt it, you'll never write to it, you'll never change it. All we're doing is cloning that. We have data loaders that can sit on a machine behind the firewall. So we have extreme encryption. We have encryption both in rest as in transit of the data. So the entire time your data is fully secure, it's in an environment that allows you to basically create a sandbox for your data mart and create an environment where people can read it, they can report on it, they can share it, they can do whatever they want to do with it without impacting production.
Wow, okay, excellent, that's great. So here's another question. Do the connections all have to be to web services or online tools, or can you make like local connections to local databases?
Using our data loaders, you can connect to local databases. We basically can connect to hundreds and hundreds of data sources via our data loaders, our web services, and our API, and some other authentication services. But the majority of what people use day in and day out, we have a native connector that just requires a two-step authentication with your credentials, and you're connected, and you'll never have to connect again.
Okay, got a couple more questions here, and then just so the folks online know, we're going to go for another 5 minutes or so answering some questions, and then we'll wrap up. So another question here: can you load flat files?
You can absolutely load flat files. There's multiple ways of doing that, and it's I kind of think it's cool that we also go kind of retro in the files that we can do. We can even go CSV files, Excel, text. We can also do things that are pretty cool, like you can actually email data into the system. We have a client that uses their inventory providers email them inventory levels twice a day, and it's just emailed straight into the system. Our system takes that email and loads it up into the data warehouse for them to then report on.
Okay, so I knew the answers to the other questions, but I didn't know that you could email in. That's pretty cool. I learned something on this webinar.
And what's really cool about that is now you have anybody from any place can provide the data that you want them to provide, so long as you give them the permissions to do so.
Wow, yeah, that's very cool. 2 more questions. One more from the audience, and then I have my own question. James is asking about
manipulating data. So I know it's called transformations. You can create views and transforms. Tell us a little bit about transformations, Rob.
Well, because of the back-end tools we have, because it truly is a data warehouse, we have data management and transformation tools built in. A lot of the business intelligence tools, especially the web-based ones, don't have that. We felt it was important to, if we're going to provide a data warehouse, a data mart, that we provide the tools on that. There's data cleansing tools, there's joins, there's merges, there's in-column calculations. There's a lot of things you can do. You can take data from 2 different sources, join those, and now you have basically a pseudo third source that's already in your data warehouse that makes it easier to report on, easier to understand. And that's where you start getting some of the true power behind a good business intelligence tool. Kevin, you there?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
There's a new feature a new question on the floor about binders. That's a new feature that just showed up on your website. Can you tell us what binders are?
Binders are basically, kind of think of it as it is you can actually create groups of dashboards that are related or that are grouped together so that you can copy entire binders full of dashboards to a new set of data or to a new group of users. You can also make it so it's easier to manage. We have clients that have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dashboards, and not only do you have folders, but you also have binders that you can put folders in. So it's another way for you to manage your data, keep that data current, and more importantly, make it easy for the admin to share that data in the most efficient way possible.
Very cool. Okay, I am going to go back to my screen, make myself the presenter here, and where is it? Make myself the presenter. But before I close, we had one last question from Sarah about maps. Sarah says, can you make maps? This is a real live map that goes up onto one of our monitors, one of our 70-inch monitors. We do business internationally, and we've got people in Perth, Pakistan, London, and Kiev. So not to mention the whole U.S. And the people here in the office were saying, Kevin, it'd be really great if we could put clocks up on the wall with all these different time zones and whatnot. I said, I can do you one better. I can put a map on the wall and have these times change. This is live time here, and I did this mashup with ClicData. So this is a ClicData dashboard right here. And I hope that answers your question, Sarah, about mapping. So this is the end of the webinar. Thank you guys very much. Go ahead, Rob. You're going to add to that?
Yeah, the map thing. So we have a distributor, or excuse me, a company that does waste management. And what you can do with this is you can actually put the locations, just like you would on a Google map. You can put locations of every pickup that truck is supposed to be doing. You can look at things that say, okay, they've got 27 pickups today. By 11 o'clock, they should be through 12 of them. Where are they? You can, what they're actually doing is syncing up their GPS data. You know where that truck is. You know where that next map is. Their average time per pickup, their average speed. Have they gone over the speed limit? Have so how many times? Oh, and where and when are they doing all this? And it's all related to an interactive map that looks like a Google map with pin drops, the whole thing.
Wow. Okay, George. I mean, Big Brother. I mean, Rob. Okay. Yeah. No, that really is cool. I make a joke, but that is a great business tool. And you know, we sell a field service software that does that monitors that kind of stuff, but it doesn't nearly display as much information as you just described. So that may be a great add-on to the field service tools. I didn't even think of that. What you could do. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been here over a year and a half, and I learn something every week based on just what our customers are using with our tool, because of the data warehouse, because of the data tools we have in there, the visualization, reporting, and intelligence, and the sharing capabilities. I'm always amazed at how creative our customers are because we're so flexible for them.
Yeah. I did see that one of our customers has One of our attendees has her hand raised, but I don't see a question there. So, Stacy, if you wanted to ask a question separately, you can reach me, kcook@braincell.net, or call Braincell here at the office, and we'll be happy to follow up with you. So, once again, just to reiterate, this recording is going to be available at the Braincell website in our events and webinars. It'll probably go up by this time tomorrow for sure, maybe even later this afternoon. And if you are worried about getting your questions asked, I promise you, you will each get a follow-up from somebody here at Braincell Technologies. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with you, Rob. Thank you so much. We will certainly be showing more about ClicData in the not-too-distant future.
Braincell and everybody there, we appreciate it. We love you guys. And again, thanks for your time today.
All right. Bye-bye.